What did I miss?
Okay, let's go. Here's the thing. CJ Stroud is not it, bro. Woo. He's not it. He's not it. If you want to keep it real, like he came out, he had a great rookie
What you mean it?
What I'm saying is he's not that guy.
He's not number 2 it. He's not number 2 pick it. He's gonna be just a starter. He don't have the it factor. What kind of it?
He's not that quarterback that's gonna take the Texans and the Texans fan base to the promised land. He's not, bro. And you know this. How much film y'all watch on the quarterback?
Enough.
Huh?
Yeah.
A lot, right? So from his rookie season till now, has he went forward or backwards?
He regressed.
Hold on. He's regressed. And the thing that I'm watching about him, he still can't throw to his left side. That's a problem. He still don't know how to scan the field when his first option is not there. That's another problem. So when I'm looking at it, is he your guy? No, he's not your guy.
That shit don't go on trees.
A few moments later.
Let's officially start this off with Perkins' ass can't get no free food in the city. He can't goddamn. We not.
Oh, I heard. Hey, I saw that.
We not letting him in the club.
Perk, I saw that.
Everything that got to do with showing him some love, his ass is on the outside of the door.
Look, the Texans fan base, if y'all thought I was going to come on here this week and to say I apologize and all this shit, you got it wrong. And you think I give a damn? Listen, I got banned, okay? I got banned. I was supposed to get, be on the field for a ribbon cutting on the 28th. I get a message that says, hey, we saw your comments on Legend Talk about CJ Stroud and they're not happy, so you can't be part of the ceremony. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So
Really?
now you really under the radar. Now I'm really watching. You on the clock for real now.
Kendrick Perkins didn't even hesitate when he said it. CJ Stroud's not it. He's not that guy. And just like that, one of Houston's most recognizable hometown names found himself shut out of his own city. No red carpet invites, no ribbon cuttings, no handshakes, not even a free meal. It started as just another sports take, but by the end of the week, the entire city of Houston had turned on him. The man who once stood tall in the NBA had become a public enemy in his own backyard. Because on the surface, this story is simple. A sports analyst criticized a quarterback, got called out by the city, and ended up banned from appearing at local events. Classic controversial take, classic backlash, end of story. But that's not what this is really about. There's something way bigger happening here. Something that reveals how modern sports media actually works. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So stick around, because we're diving deep into what really went down when Kendrick Perkins stepped into Houston and said something that made an entire city turn their back on him. Let's get into it. The comment that started it all. Kendrick Perkins has been in the NBA. He's got credibility as someone who played the game at the highest level. He understands basketball. He understands what it takes to win. So when he gets on a microphone and talks about the game, people listen. But Kendrick didn't stay in his lane. He stepped into the NFL. He started talking about CJ Stroud, the Houston Texans' second overall pick. And here's what he said. CJ Stroud is not it. He's not that guy. He's not the quarterback who's going to take the Texans to the promised land. Now that's a pretty harsh take, especially for a guy who was drafted second overall. Especially for a guy in his third season in the league. But here's the thing, and this is important. Kendrick wasn't just throwing out random criticism. He actually had reasons. He said Stroud still can't throw to his left side. He said Stroud can't scan the field properly when his first read isn't there. He said Stroud has regressed from his rookie year. Those are specific technical critiques. Those aren't just hot takes for hot takes' sake. Those are observations based on watching film. But that didn't matter, because Houston heard what Kendrick said, and they responded in a way that most people didn't expect. When a city said enough. Houston is football crazy. This is Texas. This is a place where sports aren't just entertainment, they're identity. And the Texans, being their local NFL team, have a special place in that identity. CJ Stroud was supposed to be their guy, second overall pick, built for their city, supposed to be the future. When Kendrick started talking greasy about him, Houston fans took it personally, really personally. They didn't just disagree with him on social media. They actually started taking action. They canceled his appearances. He was supposed to be at a ribbon-cutting ceremony. That invitation got rescinded. He couldn't get into clubs. People weren't showing him love in the city he's from. And here's where it gets interesting. Kendrick was actually supposed to be a guest at these events. This wasn't just some social media drama. This was real, tangible consequences, events that he probably planned for, appearances he probably turned down other opportunities for. Houston made it clear, if you're going to disrespect our quarterback, you're not welcome here. Now, a lot of people thought that was an overreaction. I get that perspective. Kendrick made a critique of a player. That's what sports analysts do. They analyze, they critique, they sometimes get it wrong, but the thing is, Houston had every right to feel the way they did. And honestly, the city's response was proportional to what they perceived as disrespect. The real issue. Kendrick was wrong, but for the right reasons. Here's where this gets complicated, and this is what most people aren't talking about. Kendrick Perkins was wrong about CJ Stroud. Let me be clear about that. He was wrong. Yes, Stroud had a sophomore slump. Yes, his numbers went down from his rookie year. Yes, he's dealing with some mechanical issues. But wrong? That's too harsh, because here's what's actually happening. CJ Stroud is a young quarterback in his third season. He had an incredible rookie year. Then, his team's offense got worse around him. His supporting cast changed. The system shifted. The offensive line had issues. These things matter. And even with all that, Stroud has shown resilience. He's still throwing for over 1,000 yards in his first 4 games this season. He had a great performance against Baltimore. He's showing flashes of the player who dominated his rookie year. Baker Mayfield is a perfect example of this. A few years ago, people counted him out. They said he was done. Now he's putting together an MVP-caliber season. Sometimes young quarterbacks need time to develop. Sometimes they need better situations around them. Sometimes they just need to show you they can bounce back. Kendrick was too quick to dismiss CJ Stroud. He was too definitive. He spoke like he knew the future, when really he was just making an assumption based on recent performance. But here's the thing, and this is important. Kendrick's reasons for saying it weren't completely wrong. Some of his technical critiques were valid. Stroud does have some mechanical issues to work on. Stroud does need to improve his field vision. Some of what Kendrick said was observationally accurate. He just took it too far. He made it absolute when it should have been conditional. The real story, entertainment versus critique. This is where the actual story lives. This is what matters. Modern sports media has a problem, and it's not just Kendrick Perkins. This is everywhere. This is systemic. The line between honest critique and emotional entertainment has become completely blurred, and most people don't even notice it happening. Here's how it works. A sports analyst watches some film. They see a player struggling. Instead of saying, this player has some mechanical issues that he needs to work on, they say this player is not the guy. Why? Because the first statement is a thoughtful analysis. It gets some engagement, but the second statement, that gets outrage. That gets people talking. That gets clips that go viral. And in modern sports media, virality is currency. Engagement is everything. The more people talk about you, the more valuable you are. So analysts, and I'm not singling out Kendrick here, this happens across all of ESPN, all of the major sports media outlets. Analysts start saying things in the most extreme way possible, because that's what gets attention. They blur the line between analysis and entertainment so much that their audience doesn't know the difference anymore. Is this guy giving me his honest opinion based on research? Or is he just trying to get me upset so I'll share the clip? Most of the time, it's both. It's an analysis wrapped in entertainment, wrapped in personal opinion. And you can't always tell where one ends and the other begins. Kendrick probably genuinely believes some of what he said about CJ Stroud. He's watched a film. He's seen the regression from year 1 to year 2. He's concerned about specific mechanics. But he also knows that if he said, CJ Stroud has some work to do, but he's still capable of being a franchise quarterback, nobody would care. Nobody would share that clip. Nobody would get upset. But if he says, CJ Stroud is not it, now we're talking. Now there's conflict. Now there's a story. That's the real issue. And that's what Houston was actually reacting to, whether they realized it or not. Why Houston's overreaction actually makes sense. Houston banned Kendrick from their events. That was an overreaction. I don't think there's any way around that. But I understand why they did it. And here's why. They felt like Kendrick was using their city, their player, their team as content. He wasn't coming to Houston with a genuine analysis. He was coming to make a splash, to say something shocking, to get people talking. And when he did that, he disrespected not just CJ Stroud, but the entire Houston community, who's invested in this young quarterback's success. From their perspective, Kendrick was playing the same game as everyone else in sports media. He was being an entertainer masquerading as an analyst. So instead of engaging with him on that level, Houston just said, "You're not welcome here." Was that the right move? Probably not. Banning someone from public events over a sports opinion is a bit much. But was it understandable? Absolutely. Because what Houston was really saying is, we don't want your type of analysis. We don't want your entertainment disguised as critique. We want genuine engagement with our team and our city, not just content. The bigger picture, what this means for sports media. Here's what we need to talk about. This Kendrick Perkins situation is just one example of a much larger problem in sports media. Every single day, analysts are walking that line between analysis and entertainment. Every single day, they're making hot takes more extreme than they need to be. Every single day, they're prioritizing virality over accuracy, and audiences have gotten so used to it that we don't even question it anymore. We don't ask ourselves, is this person actually analyzing, or are they just trying to get me upset? The problem is that when you blur that line long enough, it stops existing. People start believing that extreme hot takes are the same as analysis. They start thinking that being controversial is the same as being insightful. And that changes how we consume sports media. It changes what we believe. It changes how we talk about these topics. Kendrick Perkins walked into Houston and gave them entertainment. He gave them a hot take. He gave them something to be mad about. But he didn't give them a genuine analysis of where CJ Stroud actually stands as a quarterback. And when you do that in someone's hometown, when you do that about someone they care about, they're going to push back. Houston's response was disproportionate, but it came from a real place. It came from recognizing that they were being used as content, and they said no. What happens next? So, where does this go from here? Kendrick's been banned from Houston events. He's apologized for nothing, which, honestly, I respect. He's standing by his analysis, which is fair. But he's also learned that there are consequences when you come to someone's city and disrespect what they care about. CJ Stroud will either prove people like Kendrick wrong by having a great season, or he'll struggle and validate some of the concerns. Either way, it's going to play out over time. But the real lesson here is bigger than just this situation. The real lesson is that modern sports media has a credibility problem, and it's a problem that audiences are starting to notice. People are tired of hot takes. People are tired of entertainment disguised as analysis. People want genuine insight. They want someone who actually cares about being right, not just being heard. That's what Houston was telling Kendrick. And that's a message the entire sports media industry needs to hear. The final word: analysis versus entertainment. Let me be straight with you. Kendrick Perkins was wrong about CJ Stroud. He was too harsh. He was too definitive. He spoke like he knew the future when he was really just reacting to a sophomore slump. But his reasons weren't completely invalid. Some of his critiques were real. He just took them too far and packaged them in the most extreme way possible because that's what gets attention in modern sports media. Houston overreacted by banning him from events. That was too much. But they were reacting to something real, the feeling that they were being used as content, that their team was being disrespected for clicks, that entertainment was masquerading as analysis. And that's the real story here. Not just about Kendrick Perkins and CJ Stroud, but about where sports media is going and what it's becoming. Because every analyst out there is making the same choice Kendrick made. They're choosing between giving their honest, nuanced opinion or saying something extreme that will get people talking. And most of the time, they're choosing the extreme version. That's changing our relationship with sports. That's changing what we believe. That's changing how we think about the players and teams we care about. So the question becomes, are we going to keep accepting that? Are we going to keep treating entertainment as analysis, or are we going to start demanding better? That's on all of us, not just on the analysts, not just on the media companies, on us. If you made it this far, you clearly care about getting real analysis instead of just hot takes. That's exactly what we aim for here every single week. So if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications so you don't miss when we drop new videos where we actually dig into what's happening in sports, not just what sounds crazy. Drop a comment down below. What's your take on this? Do you think Kendrick was too harsh?
200 million?
Do you think Houston was
Not just for his
justified?
offense, but what he brings
Do you think modern sports media has a problem? Let's have a real conversation about it in the comments.
I'm not happy today.
Well, I'm
Thanks
sorry
for
to hear
watching.
that
We'll
part.
catch you on the
I
next
feel
one.
like Tim should have lost his job.